everyone. Feel free to fire away.
Prime Minister, in Masterton, what's your response to the findings of the report on the 2019 crash at Masterton Aerodrome?
My understanding is the Civil Aviation Authority have received those recommendations, accept them, and will be working through them. We're going to let them go through that process, and of course, once they've completed their work, of course, they'll be sharing that with us as government.
Are our smaller aerodromes up to scratch?
I think the whole point of this exercise, obviously, has been around safety of our aerodromes. It's absolutely critical that we maintain a level of standards that can assure the safety of those who use them. The Civil Aviation Authority have, as I understand, accepted the recommendations that have been made to them. We look forward to receiving their final view.
Would the government enforce those recommendations?
Here, there's a bit of a process to be gone through. I think we all have at our heart a focus on safety. Once the Civil Aviation Authority have had the chance to complete their work, we look forward to seeing their final view.
We're at the surf club. You've been given some towels and some wine, which is very nice.
Yes, quite the combo. Not to be combined.
And you've been giving lollies away as well.
Yeah. No, that was a biscuit, just to be clear.
But in Wellington, the regional council is forcing the club at Paikakariki on the Kapiti coast to retreat due to climate change, and it's costing the club $5 million to rebuild. Sorry for the preamble. Why isn't there better support for surf clubs to rebuild in situations like this?
Well, actually, what we're marking here today is just one of 12 examples of where the government, through the COVID Emergency Response and Recovery Fund, has invested directly in the building of new infrastructure or improved infrastructure for surf lifesaving. These are critical resources for our communities, and we can see here the benefit of a partnership between community and government. Look, there will be, what you've raised is an example of the critical issue of where climate change is affecting our coastal areas, and that includes some of our really critical infrastructure. We're going through a process at the moment around adaptation plans. We know we have to prepare. There will be areas where it will be a need to move away from coastal areas in the future. But that's where central government needs to work with local government to make sure that we're supporting them and those communities affected.
Are you concerned about those that may not be, or that will have to retreat but may not be able to afford it?
And this is where there is work to be done. You know, this is just one example. There will be others in the future. But on the flip side, you also see examples of where we're investing in new facilities where there's been perhaps a lack of funding and support before. And in fact, Surf Lifesaving themselves say this is one of the first occasions where government in their history has come to the party to support their facilities.
Prime Minister, TV3 News. The cost of living is so bad that some folk can't even afford their government subsidised rent. Is that really good enough?
Of course, as a government, we have been focused on what we can do to particularly support low and middle income New Zealanders through what is an internationally tough time. We've been really targeted in the support we've been providing through, for instance, lifting the family tax credit, putting a decrease on the cost of fuel at the pump, halving the price of public transport to help support New Zealanders through this period. It is tough, but I am optimistic that New Zealand is really well placed to get through what is an internationally difficult time.
On another topic, how do you rate Georgie's chances in the Hamilton West by-election?
Oh, look, Georgie is a fantastic candidate. And look, no doubt, a tough race there, not least because, of course, we've come into it with a previous Labour MP who, in my view, has not served the community well. But Georgie is a fantastic person. Looking forward to the campaign and the work that she'll do there.
What's your reaction to her turning up to Andrew Little's speech?
I've heard and seen the background of that, and it seems to me to be a significant misunderstanding of which I place no blame at the feet of Georgie. We're looking forward to supporting her through this campaign.
And lastly, Prime Minister, Nationals are claiming to be the underdog. What have you got to say to that?
I've got that to say.
Just back to Tauranga,
Sure.
obviously really significant moment for the city in terms of the handing back some of that land and the co-governance there. You spoke about reflecting on the past to right the wrongs to enable us all to move forward together. How important is Te Manawataki in terms of restoring mana whenua's mana?
Oh, look, you know, here is an example. Actually, in this case, this wasn't a case of the Crown being involved, but actually a really direct relationship between local iwi and council, where you can very directly see when that land was repurposed, there was an intent that it be used for a very specific purpose, and when that changed, mana whenua did not have their expectations met. The agreement was not fulfilled. So that's the history of that land. What's significant here, I think, is you can see that through a lot of work together, local iwi and council have come up with a solution to benefit the community. I think that shows a huge generosity of spirit from iwi, but also real dedication from council, and a solution that actually is going to be beneficial to everyone.
Tauranga in recent years has been known for racist slurs towards Māori. How can this new hub educate the whole community?
Here I think we see an example of the huge generosity of local iwi. Land that is very openly acknowledged to have been previously gifted but not properly used for the purpose it was intended, despite them of course having every grounds to be incredibly disappointed and hold significant grievance over that. Instead, you have today an arrangement where everyone's come together on behalf of the community to provide a solution that will benefit everyone. You know, this for me is an example of how we can continue as communities to move forward. And, you know, even though not everyone will necessarily agree with that, I hope they can all agree with the outcome. Great. Thanks, everyone.